Hi, my name is Geert Van Gele and I would like to talk about what reading from historical scores can do for you as a performer. This video is the first video of the third chapter, which accompanies the iBook Thoughts on the Recorder, which is available through my webshop kattenburgrecordings.be. You can find a link in the description, and I've also included a clickable link at the end of this video if you want to learn more about it. There are, of course, lots of books written about this subject, starting with the period treatises of the great masters themselves. The problem with these are often that they are, first of all, copious to deal with. In other words, you need to read lots and lots before you get to the information you actually need. Second, these writings often lack cut and dry solutions for common situations. My aim in these videos is to present clear insights on how to adapt your playing so that you can differentiate easily between the different styles. I do want to stress at this time that the suggestions that I will present are not all backed up by scientific evidence. I dare to insert some interpretation ideas that sprouted from my experience with the literature. These ideas, one could say, are extensions built upon what is already known as common historically informed practices. I like to think that at times these extensions can provide a much wanted practical solution for a given situation. Many a times I will be talking about chords in this chapter, rather than melodies. Even though our instrument is a solo instrument only capable of playing melodies, all tonal music is built on harmony or chords, even when chords seem to be absent. For instance, when a bass note is played together with a note from a solo part, a particular chord is simulated just by these two voices. The bass is the basis of the composition in Baroque times, upon which everything is being built. Therefore, when analyzing a piece, I find it impossible to come to a convincing interpretation without the bass part at hand. Facsimile editions can be a great help in this respect, and they have plenty of other benefits too. For one, you will never find a written out right hand of the basso continuo. Therefore, the facsimile gives you a more direct contact between the bass and the top part. With facsimile editions, you don't have to worry about whether the editor of a modern edition was true to the original or not. You will be looking at the original. You feel more closely connected also with the contemporary musician who etched these plates, which was sometimes a composer himself. You may say that this is more a romanticism than anything else, but small things like the spacing of the notes, the general layout of the score on the paper, it all makes a difference in what the score tells you. Of course, in this respect, playing from manuscripts may be even better. Lots of these are freely available online, and if performed from a tablet, you even forgo the need for printing them. When performing Baroque music from facsimile editions from after 1680, there are a couple of things to consider. Accidentals are only valid for the note itself, not the entire measure. Sometimes this rule is overruled when it's pretty clear that one particular note needs to have the same accidental. Sharps are mostly written like our modern notation, but on a 45-degree angle, which looks a bit surprising at first. Something that may turn some people off is the fact that in the bass sometimes all the clefs can be used. One should always check the clefs. Often in French music the French violin clef, the G clef on the first line, can be used instead of the normal Italian violin clef, which is the G clef on the second line. In this case, the solo part should be read similarly as a bass clef, but in the correct G clef octave. Another difference is the way first and second endings are notated. Instead of the familiar hooks with the markings 1 and 2, you will find a simple slur which indicates the point from where you need to jump the A section the second time through to the end of the slur, which is the start of the B section. Facsimile editions from before 1680 offer some other challenges. They were printed with little blocks in a row in a way like text was set, with each individual note having its own little bit of stave. This makes that a complete stave looks like a continuous dotted line, making reading a bit harder, but still very possible once accustomed to it. Every note in this notation is also detached from the next, so you will have to watch out a bit for rhythm changes. In early Baroque, bar lines were not used consistently, which might make it a bit more challenging to count if you are not used to this. On the other hand, when you start to realize that these bar lines are not put in randomly, they actually start to make sense in a musical way. They mark a deliberate downbeat, and thus making clear which melody lines need to be thought of together. That's it for now. If you follow the link, you can watch the next video on interpretation, where I will discuss analyzing a composition. Thanks for watching.